Hi everyone, Adventures with Luna Dog here, reporting from Cancun, Mexico. And in front of you is the Hotel Rue Palace, and my stay is not so grand. I am staying at these little condominiums for really inexpensive behind me, but it's super early. It's about almost 6 o'clock. This is the main drag in Cancun at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm waiting for a tour, a private tour, an Airbnb experience with Eduardo. He's going to take me one-on-one through Airbnb Experience to the Chichen Itzas, and I'm waiting for him to come and pick me up. He will be arriving shortly. Okay, as I mentioned, this is Eduardo.
Hello,
and
buenos dias.
Thank you. He's picking me up in this nice rental car, this little Chevy here, and he's taking me on, like I mentioned earlier, a one-on-one private tour through the Airbnb Experience. And this is the very start. He's picked me up in front of my little humble place, and I will give you tidbits along the way, and I will put all kinds of details in the description below, so you will know how to get a hold of him to also do the same thing as me, and all the costs and expenses and all those fine details. So off we go. Okay, this is called what?
Playa del Fines. Hello. One of my favorite places to come. The sunrise here is fantastic. Here's the best sunrise in the world, I think, with this beautiful pristine water, turquoise, and no water there in the eastern point, somewhere near Cuba. This is Cancun.
That is
Fines.
pretty.
And this is a public beach, which is another interesting fact, because it's like everybody can come every time. It's like a free access. You know, like not all the island has free access to the beach. This
Right.
is one of our locals' favorite places.
Nice. Thank you. So this was our first stop. It's a toll booth where you pay for, it's part of the expenses of the trip. I think it's about $40 US in total, to and from. This was part of that $40. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but this is the first stop. They have a restroom here. It took about an hour to get here, and we're almost to the place, but this is the toll station and part of the expenses. So we're passing through the little town on the way to Chichen Itza's. Eduardo?
Valladolid. This is a colonial town, Valladolid, founded by the Spaniards in the 16th century. 1542, Francisco de Montejo settled here, and with the order of the Franciscans, evangelized the town. So here the highlights is you see all these interesting remains of colonial town, but the people around are like the natives, the Mayans, is the real locals. You know, they've been here for 1,000 years, since the ancient times as Chichen Itza, for example. No?
Okay.
And we are on the way now soon to get to a market. The idea is that we can experience all the goods that the farmers are offering, and local food and tacos. And as you can see, there's like party. It's right now 8:20 in the morning, and people are like alive. You know, everybody's like
8:20 in the morning. Hear this.
Yeah, we started very early from Cancun at 6, and now finally we get to near to Chichen Itza in this interesting stopping.
Yeah, the reason it's going so slow is because there's some kind of cyclist thing going on where there's a bunch of cyclists, and there must be some kind of ride going on.
So look at this particular area. All the buildings start to get to see these pastel colors, right? Like the facades.
Pastels.
Pastel facades with these verandas, type of doors. Typical town.
You get the cobblestone streets.
They recently do a good reformation in terms of public services. So all the lighting, all the wires inside, there's no wires. You know, it's really clear.
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah. This is way cleaner than Tulum and Playa del Carmen.
Okay, good to know. So here just in front you're seeing this interesting church, and the church is founded in the 16th century. See,
Yeah,
see
that's
all
really
these
neat.
guys here.
See, that's you see something like that in Nicaragua.
In Nicaragua.
Yeah, you
okay.
see that kind of a church in Granada, Nicaragua.
So probably it's related to the same Spaniards that came. You know, just the church has an interesting facade. It's not very ornamental. It's more simple type of facade decoration, but still, you know, details of flowering plants. You know, like would be interesting. The typical architecture from Spanish, and this is the design, not like chess design. No, here is the city hall. A few years ago, a couple years that they did all this, putting all the wires inside, so it looks nicer. You know?
Yes, way nicer. So they
Just
took all the
everything-
wires outside. They should do that in everywhere, like in the U.S. too.
Right, and
You know.
you got everything underneath. So this see all this different.
And say the name of this now that there's
The
no
town?
Yeah.
Valladolid. Valladolid is an interesting related name of another city in Spain, in Castilla de León. Maybe because the founder Francisco de Montejo, maybe reminds the city from Spain and put it the same name here. This is Valladolid, Yucatan. So we changed from Cancun in the state of Quintana Roo. Right now we are in the state of Yucatan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Go. And,
Your sister lives here.
Yeah, and she has an Italian restaurant with her husband from Italy.
Wow.
And they love this town too, because they told me, oh, look at this cenote, you know, cenote safish, the local family. Most of this town, Valladolid, most of it is above interesting platform of limestone, and then below all these cenotes, these water wells everywhere.
Underneath the city.
Underneath the city, that's correct.
So they get all their water naturally.
Yeah, look at this interesting facade, like old.
Oh, yeah.
They make it very interesting character town.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. It's way more interesting, in my opinion, than Tulum and Playa del Carmen. That's just my opinion, but
No, I'm super glad, because that is worth in your trip today. Okay.
so we're soon getting to the farmers market. He just said.
Its name it's a Mercado Municipality Market Donato Guerra. That's the name of this market, and people from all the different small towns around, Mayan communities, will bring their goods here. And we'll be trying to find also something to eat. So it's like I will be stopping and get to see a little bit, learn about a little friend of the exotic plants here.
Get a little breakfast before the Chichen Itza tour.
Exactly, just get something, you know, maybe a fresh juice and get a taco. Get some energy before we get to the ruins.
Yes.
And as we even leave earlier, we're expecting to get in a good time into the visit of Chichen Itza.
So here's the farmers market, or again, it's called
the municipality market, you know,
okay,
for
the
farmers.
municipality. Yeah, from the local.
The
Just like a
local-
farmers market in America.
That's correct. Yeah, that's the one everybody come to offers their goods. Need to find a place to park here.
Así que vamos a continuar, seguimos adelante.
Okay, we're just approaching the ruins, the entrance. We're not quite there. We're going through a little town first that's right by the ruins. And can you tell me what this town's name again is?
The name of this town is Piste, in the state of Yucatan, and it's just nearby the Chichen Itza ruins. So is actually today became a little more touristy. There's services like restaurants, little hotels, so you can even overnight here and be close to the Mayan ruins of Chichen Itza, one of the new 7 wonders of the world. So in the next minutes we'll be finding a place to park and then go get the tickets, get some pay of the special taxes. There's a federal tax and a local tax to pay in to get to Chichen Itza.
And there's a toll right before here too.
Yes.
And not the second toll.
Right, so Chichen Itza is located in the 180 road, which is a public one. But we took today the toll road, which is kind of expensive, but it makes shorter the ride because we avoid many towns and speed bumps and try to get to the ruins as soon as possible, because from Cancun to Chichen Itza is 125 miles. So we are kind of more in the middle of Yucatan Peninsula right now. This beautiful Saturday, Sábado, right?
Yeah, and
April 17 of 2021. Here, just excited to show to Kimberly all I know about Chichen Itza. It's just like a very interesting ancient city. So as we go, you see all these services I've been mentioned. There's little restaurants.
Really grown.
Yeah. There's a funny transportation now. I think it's all over the world. The tuk-tuks, that's like one of the typical. I mean, there's motorcycle transportation, but also like a taxi service in a small type of motorcycle with seats that they call the tuk-tuks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of them.
So this is, for example, on the left, a hotel, like a 3 stars hotel, some people overnight here because, you got the chance to be close to the ruins. Mm-hmm. The last couple months they start again to performance a light and sound show, so that kind of attract people to overnight here. So then you can come to the ruins at night. After the normal visiting between 8 to 5 p.m. they reopen at 8 p.m. and they do this light and sound show of Chichen Itza.
Oh wow.
So that's something to just get back after the COVID.
Stay overnight for that. Yes. Yeah. So we'll be paying part of the expenses for the Airbnb customer is to pay the entrance fee, which is $25 US.
Yes. There's
the tolls and the gas.
That's actually right. So that's like the normal taxes it's paying for visitors. Mexican visitors have a special discount as being residents.
Right.
And actually Sunday is free for Mexicans. If you have an ID, if you are a pension guy, if you're a student, you also can get a special discount. But normal entrance is 533 peso, which equals 25 US, as Kimberly says. So this is basically the area for start finding a parking place. Look at these guys. They're like tour guides that also local guys that offer the service right in here. And they confuse me like a turista too. They want to get the service, but I'm really a tour guide too, so driver and guide. So
I better get my card out.
Yeah.
So you can pay with your credit card or debit card, and I'll put all these details in the description. So we do have to mostly wear the mask, especially when you enter.
Right, in the entrance and
you need to wear the mask.
Access, they actually have like a special filter of sanitary. Here it's before we pay the entrance, there's like a separate expenses, right? Like the one you will be paying the entrance, but then I do the parking. Part of the Airbnb includes my guiding and professional driving service, the car, and the parking lot, which is like about $4. So I take care of that, and we came early just to avoid the buses. The buses will come in the next few hours. Buenos días. Here's we receive a map and some. A nice area here, hopefully with shade. And leave the car and visit the site. This is Chichen Itza, no chicken pizza, please.
No chicken
No
pizza.
chicken pizza.
Funny.
Chichen Itza, this is the main entrance. Is the entrance and the exit of this site. So we'll be doing some interesting look for a couple hours and get the highlights. These beautiful monumental buildings, including civil buildings, ritual buildings, special platforms, open areas. It's a really interesting area. Think about that. This is we're going to be visiting like a main square of a city that flourished between the 11th to the 13th century AD. So welcome to Chichen Itza.
Thank you. And as he puts it, this is a lifer for me. In other words, a once in a lifetime thing. And going here has been on my bucket list for 20, 30 years now. So I'm finally getting it done, checking it off. And with an awesome guide. I'm so happy about that.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're like find like a site that it's interesting to know that for the very last 100 years the place has been searched, worked, restored, and finally in this 2021 we are getting here just as we reopened the site from last September of 2020 because the pandemic. It was closed for a while, and now we're kind of getting back with visitors. So the site opens from 8 to 5, and the site itself offers an interesting visit of at least a couple hours to get to see an area of 60 hectares. That in a time with flourish, the place has, they calculate between 60 to 70,000 people living around here. Not everybody was living in this main square, but there was like a very organized society seems to be, and like priests, leaders, vendors, warriors. There was the ones that lead the site. And from here, the city was sustained to the farmers, and all the people around would be covering this calculate of inhabitants of 70,000 people. Back in 2007, the place became the new seventh of the world. This interesting wonder being one of the new 7 wonders of the world by boating. So people from all over the world by internet boat and came to one of them, including some other places like the one in China, Machu Picchu, Corcovado.
Machu Picchu is my other one.
So that's one of the places. But back before, it was in 1988, this place was declared like a human heritage by the UNESCO. So the place is really important. One of the 22 sites declared by UNESCO as a human heritage in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to stop here, Kimberly, just to show you a very interesting location and explain the building behind those trees, the one that has in the top those pillars. Those pillars are representing the body of a snake. It's a snake shape. Actually, it's part bird and part snake, and represents a very sacred building. And in between, there's actually hard to see from here because it's like a camouflage with the stones. But there's another statue that is called Chacmol, and it represents the human sacrifice. So according to the archaeologists, this city was sustained by the war, human sacrifice, and trading. These 3 important things sustained the city for over 2 centuries. So supposed to be there on the top, happening what is called the human sacrifice. The human sacrifice was taking
on
the
this
heart.
one over to the right.
Yeah, the
Far
one
back.
on the right. So right in the top, that's this statue, sounds like a man laying. It's called Chacmol, and from there it would be doing the offerings to the gods. And usually the offerings would be a heart, a human heart. So somebody unfortunately would be sacrificed. They take the heart and then they offer to the gods and settle in that area.
Did they want to have that? Was it an honor? Did they want to do it?
This is a hypothesis. I think more and more strongly information says it was not a honor to do it. It was more the captors that they were choose to be feeding the gods.
Ah, it was not an honor. Okay.
But it still is a hypothesis. Unfortunately, there's a lot of questions because so many of the information and remains and evidence is gone with so many years abandoned this place, and at the same time the Spanish came it's a crossing culture happens, a shock in a way to say, where then the Mayans need to change everything, and then the Spanish wanted to erase, because for them doing human sacrifice was something not too understandable.
Right.
And here on the left you are now facing to the main building of Chichen Itza, known as El Castillo, the pyramid. This is the south point, and the archaeologists did do some restoration, but you are talking about a building that has been coming from so many restorations, and only the north and the western part of this pyramid shows the complete finishing and decoration that was at the time. Unfortunately, this area did not have all the stones and enough material to cover up. Anyways, the archaeologists like to have this idea not to finish everything perfectly. The idea is to have an idea of processes of constructions where they do in restoration. Okay. Right improvement. Because remember, this is a city that has a complete sustained idea by human sacrifice, and that's something that we need to highlight. So that's called, that area that I've been talking about, the statue, the human sacrifice, is called Temple of the Warriors. Okay. Well, welcome here, Kimberly. Welcome everybody. We're observing the important location of Chichen Itza, probably the most open area for all the inhabitants in this site. And we're going to concentrate in talking to this pyramid. This is one of the highlights of the place. Get to know what was the purpose of this building. Well, you first need to know that this building has a measuring of approximately 90 feet high. And it goes for 200, so it's like a 600 feet long in volume. But this is above another pyramid which is in a lower dimension. So I'm talking about that they first built one with about 18 meters, which is like 36 feet, and then above of this one they did this one of 90 feet that you see.
Huh.
The whole purpose of this building...
the first one's not underground.
No,
it just started
underneath.
out on the bottom.
It's like even today it's working as a foundation. Even inside there's a temple, same as this one, but lower dimension.
But okay, let me be clear though. Is there any part of it that's underneath the ground? I think you're saying that. Is that as a foundation?
It's, this is the foundation, and then
everything
in
is
the
sea.
building, in the same building, there's a sub-pyramid. There's another building just the same kind of shape, but lower dimension. Okay. So actually, in the opposite side of that staircase, there's a door that you can get in. You would be able to get into inside and get to see this other first pyramid building. Then they ended with this one, with the purpose seems to be of astronomy idea of special events they want to know. For example, the Mayans are well known for the solar calendar. The solar calendar has 365 days. That's the time that the Earth goes around the sun. And here is representing these days by the staircase. Each staircase has 91 steps, times 4, 364, plus the base, 365. That's the very precise calendar of the Mayans, called the solar calendar. The other interesting thing about this building is like they have a special counting. It was called the 52-year cycle. It was a special moment, happens every 52 years, and they wanted to represent into the decoration. So each side of the staircase has a upsurface squares, like you can see these bodies, like one is 1, 2, 3, 4 body of platforms, you can say, no? And then you can from top to down we'll count in 9. So in the surface of this facade appears these up relief squares. Like if we would be counting, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and on the row all the way it's gonna be 26. So 26 in one side and 26 in the other makes the 52-year cycles of the Mayans. And now the most important thing of this building is when they were doing the restoration, they figured it out that they could be able to measure the two important times of a year. The time to get ready for the crop of the spring, and then the harvest, and then again another crop in the fall to the harvest. So that's every equinox happening is March the 21st and then September the 21st. So in those specific days happens, I try to be very clear, an effect that they call light and shade effect happening as the sun reflects in the afternoon. So the building starts to make from the top of that platform going down, and creates all that shade that is like representing the descending movement of the snake. And then it finished with that head of the snake in the beginning of the staircase.
Oh, yeah.
That means, and that is again the time to do the crop and of the spring. Every year, twice a year, they have these crops and harvest. So it was like a special moment of agriculture when this mystic animal between a snake and bird comes to enrich the soil. So around here would be a lot of people doing dance, ritual ceremonies, just honor to this special deity.
Okay.
Years ago, roughly the 2017 they start doing this digging, and they figured it out that probably before they build the two pyramids are here, they create a very special foundation, and from here they go over higher to create this amazing building we're observing.
They started it way out here.
Way up here.
Wow.
And you need also to know that as in many sites in the Yucatan, we are above cenotes. So the name Chichen Itza means the well of the mouth. Chi means mouth, Chen means well, the well of the mouth, and then Itza represents the tribe that was here. They call itself, or each other, they will call the wisdoms of the water, just because when they settled here, they figured it out there were so many cenotes.
Tell the viewers what a cenote is, please.
Cenote is a natural formation that happens when the limestone collapses, and then we can see the water. These wells, or these water wells, are fed by a huge underground system here. So cenotes are so many around Yucatan because they're all connected by this underwater system.
Similar to sinkholes, they can be very deep.
Yes,
they're freshwater.
That there are
drinkable,
water.
at least back in the day when they used it as drinking water.
That's correct.
And they also thought of it as an entrance to the underworld.
Yes, this is related to the philosophy of them, or the beliefs that into the religion, that eventually when somebody passed away we'll be traveling to the infraworld. The area, see, if you notice here, it's all remodeled. See, it's all been finished perfectly. Well, this up surface I was mentioned, 26 by 26, 91 steps. The decoration of this snake kukulkan. The top, this is probably the main staircase, because this one actually has more wider entrance to that space that was used for rituals and ceremonies from some top leader.
So maybe it's not obvious to everyone, but of course it's not going to look this pristine. This has been done for aesthetic purposes, made to be how they thought it might look as an original. Probably is how it looked as an original.
Yes.
But it's been restored.
It's been restored, yes. You need to think like about 100 years ago, this was all uncovered with jungle. The first people actually report this place was in 1840 with very famous travelers, Frederick Catherwood and Lloyd Stephens. They asked for permission to come and visit these sites, and then they draw it, and they actually visit so many Mayan sites. It's called the Mayan world. The Mayan world is a big extension where includes Guatemala, Belize, Mexico, 400 square kilometers of cities that settle. One of them is Chichen Itza, one that rises in the time called post-classic, 11th to the 13th century. Something that is really interesting too is, according maybe because the spaces of the temples are in between the access to the sub-pyramid, creates an interesting acoustic. See, like a guy is trying to clap here.
So So let's go over there. And...
Even here. So, for example, I show you a sample. When you clap.
So it sounds like the snake.
A bird, actually.
A bird. Oh,
yeah.
bird.
Quetzal bird, yeah.
Well, there's also a sound that's supposed to be like a snake. I don't know. I read something about it, but maybe I'm wrong. I read something wrong.
Well, remember this mythology between the snake and a bird together. It was an interesting mystical deity that, as a connection probably of these Mayans, honor these animals and create this mystical animal. The snake represents the coming of the rain soon, and then the bird represents the sun. So together creates this interesting deity. And probably just to get it more clear, this also match what I just explained about the descending snake every equinox that comes to enrich the soil just before the first rain season comes and when it ends. So it's like 2 timings of the year.
Pillars.
Yeah, these pillars are related to a civil location, you know, like a space where they would be using more like a market. Everybody would be able to trade here. Chichen Itza is considered in the capital of trading, and in those days there were valuable products like obsidian, jade, cotton, cocoa, feathers. All these kind of things were trading in between, and they create this special space with a very open areas, like a long galleria. There's actually some ledges there to sit, and they could be, you know, trading. And it goes forever. It's like a very long area. That's why they call the 1,000 columns. And it's very notable as they are all circle shapes, and they're the opposites of the one way behind there that are square shapes. Those are carvings, and those belongs to another section. So they were good architects. They have chosen like special spaces for different purposes.
Thank you.
Here shows in this particular area some of their beliefs of the...
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that this is a very special area. It's near or neighbors the 1,000 columns area, and it's called the Temple of the Warriors. It's a very special area that at least even with so many years of restore and this place abandoned, the archaeologists kind of figured it out that this would be a very sacred location and also be managing by the elite people. The high society, like priests and warriors, top vendors, will be government the site. And here left us, for example, these carvings that express eagles and jaguars in a connection, like a fusion. This city, as I was trying to explain, is not only Maya. This is an alliance with another group from the area of Mexico City known as the Toltecs, and together create this city. So both represents the most important animals. The jaguar represents power, same as the eagle. And if you observe kind of carefully, in the claws of these animals appears the human heart. And the human heart is held by the claws of the animals, and that represents the human sacrifice. The human sacrifice for the Mayans in Chichen Itza, the Mexican Mayans, would it be the way to sustain, give it back to the gods when once they gave us life. So they would be doing this interesting human sacrifice.
Okay.
Binoculars.
Very, very top.
Yeah, the very top, there's this interesting ornamental and like a type of pieces of stone integrate in between and creates images of, looks like monsters, like
Aliens?
no, well, yeah, kind of like aliens, but it was more than aliens. It was the representation of the god of the rain.
Ah.
So in a shape that looks like a monster. For example, if you look into the top building right side, appears this like profiles, like that looks like has like a nose, like a hook, like a trump, like an elephant nose, right? So
can I move over? Can you
yeah.
look at that?
It's right there, like top building in the corner, top corner right, that
Move over
repeats.
to the right. I can get it, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So it represents symmetric.
Well, what's those hooks off the end of the building?
Those are the nose of the monster,
Oh,
the monster of the
okay.
god of the rain, and it repeats 3 times. So there's a face expressing from this architecture 3 times.
Okay.
Same on the center. In the center is facing to us, front side, the face with the open mouth like a monster, eyes, earrings, is all there.
Okay. Okay.
So here we are observing an interesting building, probably been using like a type of house. Also could be related to a temple, as it's very near to a cenote. Chichen Itza was founded from these wisdoms of the water to build a place to be settled. And then probably a priest, a leader will be having here special events and rituals just to honor the water supply that comes from the sinkhole. So we're about to see a sinkhole, a cenote. It's called Ixcoloc Cenote in Chichen Itza. These kind of spaces, if you notice, they have interesting divisions, beds, pillars with special sections and accesses, and create a very special building just next to a cenote. This type of sinkhole evidences the interesting water system that we have in the Yucatan. All is fed by the underground system, and this is probably connected to the other cenotes are in the other sections in North Point, also known as Sacred Cenote. And they have found here, as they did some digging and searching in this cenote, divers came and look in the very bottom what was here happening, and they figured out there's a lot of rituals probably happens and offers given to this sacred cenote just to ask for the water supplies, where the Mayans believe the god of the rain supply every year the agriculture. So they found, for example, incense pieces, vessels, ceramic pottery dishes, all related to offers. Mm-hmm. In terms of geography, we can also understand that the cenotes inside Chichen Itza or in the surroundings in central Yucatan, they kind of more deeper to the water than the ones in the Caribbean Sea by eastern point of Yucatan Peninsula. So here in the center, there's usually average of these 90 feet from where we are stepping to get to the water, and then the depth of the water goes to 90 feet.
Wow.
That's why it's kind of like dark, because it's really, really deep, and also the dropping of leaves and everything might not get the clear that we expected.
So you said it's 90 feet from here to the top of the water, and then from the top of the water to the bottom is 90 feet.
Yes. And comparable to the ones by the Caribbean Sea, like for example in Tulum, you find places where are only 18 feet deeper. It's another kind of natural formation, all with the same idea. The remains of being limestone formation, and all this water is fed in by the many years of raining that will filter in through the limestone. So everything needs to be trained by hands. So would it be really populated? So they need to create these routes, and then by hand they trade one location to another.
Okay. So this is the ball court?
Yes, this is the ball court. We are actually outside the ball court. We're still gonna go in. But of here we can see the main entrance. This is kind of like a reception place. You can observe some staircase where all the visitors can come and enjoy the ball game. Uh-huh. And the ball game, it was not like a sport. It was more like a ritual. The ritual representing once again this obsessed to sustain the play somehow. And in this case, they do this ritual where eventually some of the players will be sacrificed, and then all this blood that is coming out from the decapitation of a player will feed the ground. It will be connected. A mystical thinking of connection of humans with the plants. In this case, the pumpkin plant.
Pumpkin?
The pumpkin. Pumpkin, or also you can call it squash. It was one of the main diets of the Mayans.
Oh, yeah.
first corn, and then the pumpkin. Those two types of food, it was sustainable, the humanity in those days. So they do a lot of rituals. We are. It's interesting platforms, probably very useful for them, for the guards to from here be able to control, guarding, impress the visitors, and they left all these interesting skulls. For the Mayans in Chichen Itza, the dead and the life were always together. You know, the human sacrifice, all these different skulls are representing that. Right, this warrior is also interesting. Also surrounded by snakes, and then he's very well dressed, arrows, and he's also carrying a head of probably a captor, you know, or somebody has been sacrificed as well. So this constantly showing through the carvings the valuable for them for the human sacrifice. All the decorations you see here are detailing with the snakes. The snake, a mystical animal, you know, between a snake and jaguar. Look at this one here on the right. We also can think about rattlesnake. See the rattle on the beginning? See? Quite interesting. This is Chacmol. This is the statue that I've been mentioned. Once we see this interesting character, we're talking about a good evidence of human sacrifice. The human sacrifice was represented through this statue, and over here there would be like the offerings.
Can you describe what the statue is doing? The monolith, it's sitting with its knees up, and it's supposed to be holding a bowl.
Yeah, as I've been saying, this is the best representation of human sacrifice. Actually, you can look at it from here more clearly. This is the legs. It's a laying statue character, and when the human sacrifice happens, the heart will be offered there, the human heart that is been taken from some victim, and it will be put here, and it would be the message of the gods. So that's the representation, the strongest representation of human sacrifice.
Oh, they put the heart in the bowl that it was holding?
Yes, right here, right in the center. That's where it's supposed to be laid. And these constantly human sacrifice events happening in strongly locations from Chichen Itza all the way to Mexico City, in those days called Tenochtitlan. Lots of these samples are remaining the human sacrifice. It represents, and this temple is called the Temple of the Jaguars and the Eagles. And symmetric repeats in this facade, an eagle with a claw getting also the human hearts. And also the same is the meaning of human sacrifice. And then on the middle, this niche here shows this window, a jaguar also doing the same, getting the human heart. Here's another sample. Maybe it's more clear to see.
Oh, women were very important.
There's the jaguar getting in the claw the human heart, and then on sides the eagle also repeating the same. It's an important representation of human sacrifice, strongly shown in many locations here in Chichen Itza as the way they believe the sustain of the city.
This is the cenote.
In Valladolid, it's called Sasi.
Okay,
It's probably the most. We're visiting the cenote more for locals. You know, this is like the one that's been here.
Okay.
Many years, like at least open to the public the last 40 years, and people love to come here and swim and relax. Now they even have a nice local restaurant with regional food.
Okay.
Specializing in regional food, so we're gonna have a place here to change.
Okay.
And we're gonna do the walking. I'm sure we're gonna get the tickets now.
Okay, we just walked down the stairs to the entrance of the cenote, and now we're walking down the pathway, right?
Yes, this is Cenote Sasi, right in town. This is a place usually more common for the locals. And the idea is we kind of going all the way down where the water is, which is like about 90 feet down. So kind of similar to Chichen Itza. And eventually we get to the water and we can just swim there and jump. It's super beautiful. It's like we call half ceiling. You know, it's like a part is covered and part is just exposed to the sun. So that creates very beautiful colors of the water.
Okay, nice.
And see, all this is an interesting natural formation of this sinkhole, all fed by water.
I'll take some pictures from here.
Llegando al cenote aquí.
Y ahorita regresar otra vez a Luis y mañana lo mismo, dice. ¿Qué te dijo Ángel? ¿Te dijiste que viniera? No tengo dinero.
Oh, a little waterfall.
So all this water you see here is connected also with another cenotes nearby. So there's like about at least 5 different cenotes in town of Valladolid, all connected, and it's the water is
Underneath.
just underneath. That's correct.
Like little waterways.
Yes, and there's some a little bit of wildlife, like some fish that lives there, like we call it catfish.
Oh yeah, we have
They-
catfish in Oregon.
Okay. This is like a kind of a version of a small catfish that lives into the underwater system.
And what is that? What's creating that waterfall? Is that man-made waterfall?
This one, yes. This is like a pushing, yeah, because here is everything is underground river, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Can
they-
you do the underground river? Not here probably, but another one they have one, right?
Yes, this one, it is the underground river, but as you said, it's impossible because it's deep. It's like
Deep, yeah.
about 10 meters to find the cave where it connects the water.
But there's
It's
some
bad.
where people it's half out of the it's in the air too, so people can walk through it. They don't have to dive under.
Yes, yes. But there's some cenotes like this. This specific one is more like, it's more deep, right?
Okay. And it's 90 feet?
90 feet deeper. That's where
Okay.
those people are.
All right.
They
Yep.
set these interesting roads to help the people when they go in the water, and they have spaces where you can do some diving. You can jump
okay.
from different locations.
Okay, well, I'll pause this and I'll take some more footage when we get down there. So what's that tree again?
The type of the tree is called fig tree, F-I-G,
Oh, fig.
fig tree. And they are related to another group, it's called banyan tree.
Yeah, they have a lot of
They're-
banyans in the Keys.
Yeah, in the Keys and all over, like Hawaii or many tropical areas.
Tropical, yeah.
The thing of these trees is that they hold very well to the stone, and then they can get to the water. So if
Oh.
you're like lost in this jungle, you should find some of these trees, and you probably find water soon.
Okay.
It's like a good.
What's this
sign of
pipe
water.
for? Pipe? What's that for?
This pipe probably is the one that is. They like to be like moving
Circulating,
the water,
circulating the water.
circulating the water, and then they put this pipeline that it ends into that kind of
okay.
hole that is there.
All right, makes sense.
See all these stalactites. It's a natural formation has been for years, filtering, and with the exceed of the calcium of the water, the air, and the dropping, naturally starts to grow what we call stalactites.
Stalagmite, yeah.
Stalactites, yes.
Stalactite.
So there's a stalactite is from top to down, and
Yeah.
stalagmite from bottom to the top. And eventually, when they get together, there's columns.
Yeah.
It just creates a very special scenic location. That's a scenario.
Gonna jump? I might do that.
Look at the fish, it's very interesting. This fish,
catfish?
Catfish, but also some people call it blind fish because they can be living in the corner,
Dark,
in
yeah.
the dark. They don't need the light. They pretty much found the food by the sense of movement, around.
Huh. Let me look at this. Well, that's not too bad. I'll do that.
These cenotes are very special. It's like a sacred place, and even they said when the storms come, like a hurricanes, like a big storms in the ancient times, this would be like a good protection to be. You can hide in a location here and avoid strong winds.
Yeah, maybe it would hurricane, but I don't know if a hurricane would come in this far inland.
The only thing is true is when it's a lot of water bringing from the storm, the water level increase.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Here,
but
let me
this
get out of the way.
Yeah, these guys want to.
Hey. Long ways down from up there. Oh, she's not going to do it. He did it before, though. He did it a couple times.
He did it, right?
From the tree. Yeah. So I just jumped off this ledge right here. Me and old lady jumped off that ledge.